Hello and welcome to another I Recommend video. These videos are not designed to be full-on detailed reviews, they're more of a casual look at some games that I'm having fun with and that I wanted to share with you all. So first I'll explain what the game's about and what it has to offer. Then we'll talk about why I've been enjoying it, and after that we'll close the video with a quick conclusion. So what is Nights of Azure? Well, it's a hack and slash action RPG with some monster catching and collecting elements mixed in. The story of the game revolves around two girls who are exploring Rustwall Island, a relatively unknown place where no one sleeps during the night. The humans of this world managed to defeat the Night Lord in a horrible battle, but the Night Lord's blue blood washed over many people, twisting them into fiends that steal away the nighttime. You play as the Holy Knight Arnice, a young woman who came into contact with the Night Lord's blue blood and is now part human and part monster because of it. She's also a close friend of Lilith, a kind and gentle saint who's destined to seal away what remains of the Night Lord. She cares deeply for Arnice and would sacrifice herself without hesitation to protect her. As I've already mentioned, the game features a real-time hack and slash combat system and mixes in a monster taming and summoning mechanic. During the battles, you'll be able to perform a standard attack combo with the square button, a heavy attack with triangle, a special attack with cross, and you can dodge or evade with circle. However, if you hold down R1, you'll gain access to your monsters, which this game calls servants. These servant monsters can be collected and equipped to the 4 face buttons, which again you can access during battle by holding R1. Pressing the button they're equipped to will summon them to fight alongside you, and they will generally fight on their own. If you press the summon button again while they're fighting, they'll perform a special skill. It could be an attack, a heal, or even an AoE. The servant are split into categories and can even be equipped with one item each to boost their effectiveness. As you might imagine, when a servant levels up, they become stronger and will occasionally learn new skills. Summoning these monsters and using their skills does cost SP, which, as you can see, is the red bar located at the bottom left. It does recover slowly on its own, but you can also find items that replenish it much quicker. After a brief tutorial, you'll gain access to the hotel, which is essentially your home base or hub. This is where you do all of your customizing, quest accepting, and setup. Arnice herself can also equip a variety of items to boost her stats, and she can of course level up as well. Once you're ready to leave, you exit through the front door and you'll be shown a map. This is where you can choose an area to go to or a story mission to play. There are a few more minor mechanics here and there to get to grips with, but they aren't available right at the start, so I'll leave those for you to discover. So what do I like about this game so far? Well, I have said this before, but sometimes it's nice to just be able to switch up what you're playing. I've been playing a lot of games from Koei Tecmo and Gust recently, and they generally produce turn-based JRPGs, albeit with some tweaks. Nights of Azure is another Koei Tecmo Gust game, but it's a hack and slash action game that allows you to capture and use monsters. It's just kinda cool to be able to play different types of games but from the same studio, if you see what I mean. The hack and slash combat in the game is fairly competent, although I've heard from a couple of viewers that the second game in the series does a much better job. That said, I'm happy with how the first game plays, and it's quite enjoyable. It's not hard to control, the enemies aren't cheap or annoying to fight, and it works basically as I feel it should. Sometimes, basic action games like this work as a bit of a palate cleanser for me after playing a long turn-based RPG, and this one is no exception. It came as a welcome surprise. I find the combat to be pretty good in the game, and as I said, I'm definitely looking forward to playing the sequel and seeing how that handles. I also really like the kind of medieval gothic fantasy setting. It's a bit like Van Helsing in a way, if you see what I mean, especially with all the fiends roaming around the town streets at night. I mean, I'm not really into horror, as most of you probably know by now, but I do like the gothic settings. It actually reminds me of the early parts of Bloodborne a little bit, obviously not in regards to the combat, but perhaps the theme and the atmosphere. Once again, I feel like Gust have got some brilliant character designs going on here. You guys know I'm all good with fan service and stuff like that, so just to let you know, this game does have it. Arnice and Lilith look very good indeed, and they are two beautiful female characters, and the more games I play from Gust, the more I like them. Arnice is powerful and stoic, while Lilith is kind and caring, yet both of them are absolutely gorgeous to look at. The characters in this game are just overall very well done in my opinion. I mean, what with Blue Reflection, the Atelier games, the Azure games, they really do have some great IPs, and genuinely I wish Gust nothing but success. Lastly, I'm really enjoying the monster system. It's really fun to acquire them and use their abilities for yourself in combat. I really like how flexible the system is, allowing you to mix and match them, equip items to them, assign them to whichever button you want, and level them up. Visually, they're all pretty nice as well. I mean, they do reuse some of them and just make them bigger as kind of boss monsters, but that's really a non-issue. I would say they resemble what you'd see in a Persona game or the mainline Shin Megami Tensei games. I'd also say they're closer to something like Digimon than Pokemon in terms of aesthetics, but really it's the Shin Megami designs that are probably the closest example. And I think that's about all there is to say in this section, so let's go to the conclusion. In my opinion, Nights of Azure is a fun, fast-paced hack-and-slash game that's actually a bit of a hidden gem on the PS4. I guarantee that thousands of people have overlooked this game, and that's a real shame because it's surprisingly good. The sequel, from what I'm told, is supposed to be significantly better as well, so I'm really looking forward to picking that up. Ultimately, this game deserves to be seen and played by more people. It's got an interesting theme, a compelling story, attractive characters, snappy combat, and its own monster taming system to top it off. If you generally like JRPG games or even something like the Musou Warriors games, I would easily recommend this game to you. No, it's not a big budget game, and no, it's not a well-known game. However, those things often define some of the most creative and most memorable games that we all love. And so there you go, that's my views on Nights of Azure. It's available right now on PS4, PS5 and PC. If you happen to be a game collector, you can also find it on PS3 and PS Vita. The game isn't on the Nintendo Switch, unfortunately, but the sequel is, so perhaps you could look into that if this video has piqued your interest in the series. If you enjoyed the video, I really hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel, and if you like what I do and want to offer your support, please check out the first link in the video description down below. But with all that said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.